Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. This will be a long promised video. Should you do a dual mass to a single mass flywheel conversion? Here I will talk about the pros and cons of each flywheel and should you or should you not do the conversion. So let's start with the dual mass flywheel. This is the dual mass flywheel that was installed by Ford. It started to make noises, so I brought it to my mechanic to get it replaced. So, the name dual mass flywheel comes from its two masses. One that is attached to the crankshaft, and the other one goes to the transmission. And here in the middle, you can see that they move. And the whole purpose of a dual mass flywheel is to cancel out engine vibrations. And these are mostly installed in diesels because diesels make a lot more vibration than gasoline engines. In gasoline engines, the clutch is usually more than enough because its job too is to cancel out engine vibration because of the springs installed around it. And by canceling these vibrations, the dual mass flywheel gives you a much smoother ride. For instance, when you switch gears, when you release the clutch, the car doesn't shake as much. Or for instance, when you go uphill in a gear that's too high, the car also doesn't shake that much. The cons for these dual mass flywheels is that they don't last as long as a single mass flywheel. Also, when you replace the clutch, it's suggested that you also replace the dual mass flywheel. One more con is that these cost a lot more than single mass flywheels. On top of that, these dual mass flywheels don't like torque. What I mean by that is when you start from a standstill, you rev the engine high and just dump the clutch. That will make these flywheels not last as long as they should. So, and now let's talk about solid mass flywheels. Well, the solid mass flywheel has its name from its single mass, or it's also called a single mass flywheel. The pros for a solid mass flywheel is that they need little to no maintenance. Pretty much when you know that your clutch is going, you just replace the clutch and that's it. You don't need to replace the flywheel. Or maybe you just need to resurface your flywheel, but that's pretty much it. And they cost a lot less than a dual mass flywheels. Also, single mass flywheels can handle more punishment, like when I talked about torque. That doesn't count for a single mass flywheel. You can dump the clutch on a hard start and the flywheel can easily take it. And now, let's get to the cons for these single mass flywheels. When you do a dual mass to a single mass conversion, now your transmission and your crankshaft has to handle all the vibration that previously your dual mass flywheel was absorbing. So that means in some rare cases I have heard that, well, it was mostly on Volkswagens that crankshafts break. And also transmissions fail a little sooner. Now that might not be linked to the conversion, that's just what people have observed after a conversion from a dual mass to a single mass flywheel. And to be honest, the percentage of those crankshafts breaking or transmissions failing is very, very little. Your car might be completely fine for the rest of its life after this conversion. And now, the ride quality. The ride quality has to suffer. Now, what I mean by that is when you do your gear shifts at low gears, you have to give a lot more gas because otherwise your engine might stall. Also, the car will be a lot more noisy at idle. You might be hearing a knocking sound or a rattle coming from your transmission because, as I told you earlier, there is no dual mass flywheel now that can absorb the engine vibration, so your transmission has to take it. So, my personal opinion is, unless you do a lot of racing and if you like the comfort of your ride, then just save up a little more and stick with the dual mass flywheel. In fact, a lot of people who have done the conversion from the dual mass to a single mass flywheel have later switched back to the dual mass flywheel because the ride quality changes so much that you have to change your driving style altogether. These flywheels will not break right away. Usually they start to be noisy, make rattling sounds and whatnot, and even then they will last for 1 or 2 more years. But if you really are on a budget, then just do the conversion. Because the cons I mentioned earlier depend on what car you drive. You might do the conversion and you might be completely fine. You just have to adjust your driving style a little bit. And so that's it for today's video. If you think this video was useful for you, then please give it a thumbs up and or subscribe. And in the comment section below, please comment if you have done this conversion and what has changed and what not, and what do you think about it altogether. Thank you for watching and see you next.